So I was going to say, it's like there are a lot of parallels as it goes, and I think that the interesting thing is that this is a more covert version. So we have all of our similar versions of things that you're describing, but one of the like interesting cult level things to me about it is that this is a group that has a lot of money. And typically Jehovah's Witnesses are known as the group that has the least amount of money. Like they are the lowest income big religion that there is. Okay. And that's because they're more seeking out vulnerable people. We were trying to reach people while they're grieving at a gravesite and bring them.
This is very imperative that I mention this. All religion necessarily requires them to pray and focus and emphasize on advertising and selling to the most desperate and vulnerable people. That is a keystone of all religion of any kind, whether it's a cult or it's a true religion, doesn't matter. It all requires desperate people. It requires people in times that they're most vulnerable to join. It necessarily requires that. They don't have to advertise to anyone else, because those people, if they're not vulnerable and they're not going through shit and they're not fucked up in some way, right? They're not desperate anyway. If they join anyway, they're going to join on their own. They don't need sales and advertising pushed on them to get them to buy in. It's exactly why all religion doesn't almost ever, if ever, advertise to those people. They only advertise to the people who have an emptiness, they have insecurities, they have a lack somewhere, they feel alone, they're desperate, they're grieving, they're vulnerable in some way. Those are the people they go to every time, because they're by far the easiest people to manipulate. They're by far the easiest people to sell to, because of how easy they are, again, to manipulate. The human psychology is so infuriatingly just hyper simplistic and basic. It's insultingly so. Which is why, like, just, it's easy for anybody to accidentally manipulate somebody into anything. It happens all the time. I think, in fact, I don't think, I know that every single individual human being that's ever existed and will ever exist, let alone therefore does exist currently, will at some point, inevitably, a handful of times at least of their lifespan, no matter how long they live, will accidentally manipulate somebody with zero intention and zero awareness that they are even doing it, because that's how wildly easily manipulable the average human mind even is. Now imagine somebody who is desperate, who is grieving, who is vulnerable, who is hurting, alone, whatever. They are infinitely more easy to manipulate and control. That's also why, again, any manipulative person or group targets those people, because they're by far the easiest to gain control and power over. Gain their reliance on you. That's the whole fucking premise. That's why. That's why, again, Adolf Hitler, Nazi Germany, had the easiest time with that shit. He, even in his severely mentally ill state that was progressively getting worse, partially by his own doing, partially just general progression of it, he understood basic human psychology. That's how he had such an easy time getting the mass majority of people to buy in. Even if they didn't technically in their heart buy in, they still did out of fear. Because fear is easily the most powerful tool to manipulate masses of people. Because it just takes a little bit and then repetition of that and increasing dramatic emphasis to make almost anybody believe, and their brains adopt this belief and this perception that you want them to have, which is exactly what he did. And throughout human history, you can see this repeated over and over and over again, whether it's in a group, whether that's political, so government, or it is in religion or cults, or perhaps you've experienced it in your own fucking family or in your workplace or wherever else. It's really commonplace because it's so easy to manipulate anybody, especially when they are desperate, when they are vulnerable, when they are hurting, when they are grieving. Insert any other traumatic or troubling thing here. It's so easy, and that's why you sell only to those people. It's really that simple, and I hate that that's the case.